Welcome back, America. It's Hugh Hewitt. Pleased to welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show now, Donald Trump. Mr. Trump, welcome back. Good to have you again.
Good morning.
We have had an unusual relationship this campaign season, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think it's been good. I respect you, and I think it's been good. I think
it's been very
fine.
Good. What I'd like to do, though, rather than a usual interview, is give you some of my recommendations on how to beat Hillary and get your reactions to them.
That's
Is that
okay.
good with you?
Fine.
First one, because this election is going to be about terrorism, I think you ought to name either Tom Cotton or Chris Christie as your vice president, because Cotton's, he's a senator now, but as an Army Ranger, he sought out and killed terrorists, and Chris Christie prosecuted them. What do you think of those two guys?
Well, I think they're both great, and they've been very supportive. And we have a lot of support. You know, it's interesting. We have much more support than the press lets you believe, a tremendous support. And, you know, they may go and say, well, here's a rogue person from the Republican Party, and we definitely have the people's support. You see that. You even see that in the polls. We get hammered for 4 weeks unfairly by the press, and the polls are just about even, and she's spending a fortune and I'm not. So we have a lot of support. I think we're going to do great. But I like those two guys a lot. I think they're terrific guys.
Do you think that the election will turn on terror and the ability to win that war and fight it successfully, and that they would be good number twos?
Well, it depends where we are. It depends where we are in the cycle. The attack was so horrible last week. And when there's attacks, sadly, because there's nothing more horrible, you don't want to get things, but people view me as a much stronger person in terms of protecting our country. And, you know, I'm doing very well in that regard. Now, I don't know where we'll be. I'd like to see it, frankly. I'd like to see no attacks in a perfect country. I'd like to see a president that would do a great job, even if he's a Democrat. Let him do a great job for the country. Because, as I say, it's the country first. It's America first. But we know that's not going to happen with Obama. He's not going to do a great job. That we have figured out. So, yet I think I do very, very well on the protection front and on the military front, actually.
And so would Cotton or Christie help you in that regard?
Well, I can say I can't give you any clues or anything right now because I do have a lot of respect for those two guys, but I have a lot of respect for others also. Chris came out very early and endorsed me. I've gotten very good statements from Senator Cotton, who is I know, whose parents I know and met. I think that he is a very talented guy. He's also very popular. He's a very popular person. So these are two names that I have high on the list for something, at least, that I can tell you.
My second recommendation, and it's never been done before, but you've done a lot of things that have never been done before, is name a lot of your cabinet. For example, former Senator John Kyle at Defense, or former Ambassador Bolton at State, or former Senator Lieberman to run the CIA. Will you name members of your cabinet early so that the whole conservative movement in the middle of the country see a serious team that Donald Trump has put together to fight these so many serious battles we have in front of us?
Yeah. Are you talking about prior to the convention or just naming the cabinet sometime soon thereafter?
Either or both. Maybe rolling out throughout the entire election season, but before the election. I
might be inclined to do that. I don't think that's that unusual, though. That's been done before, hasn't it, you?
No, I don't think we've ever had a cabinet member named. There was a hint that Colin Powell was going to be W as Secretary of State, but it was just a hint. I mean, if you appear with these guys... Well,
did they wait till after the election and then
yes.
the cabinet? No, really?
Yes.
I would be inclined. I would think it's no great shakes. I would be inclined to do a lot of it early. You don't have to do all of it, but a lot of it early. Actually.
That is great news. I think that would really rally a lot of people to your flag.
I like that idea very much.
Third one, I think you know this. The campaign is going to come down to these 3 debates with Hillary Clinton and you. And I'm curious, are you practicing? I tell people that the best I've ever seen you is when you gave your UN remodel testimony to the Senate, and you had it mastered. You'd obviously practiced it. Are you in full practice mode already with someone playing Hillary Clinton who will be as tough on you as she will be in these debates?
I have not. No, I have not. And I must tell you, I think you and I have a little different mode. I watched Romney went into a log cabin or something, and he came out, and he wouldn't talk to anybody for weeks, and, all of that. And then he got to the debate, and he wasn't able to speak so well. I've seen that. And, to a certain extent, you have to be yourself. I do know the issues. I actually know the issues, I think, much better than people understand that I know the issues. But I want to, obviously, I will be practicing, but I don't want to put so much practice in that all of a sudden you're not who you are. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And you know better than anybody, because in the debates, at least according to the online poll, and many pundits, I don't know if you're one of them actually, but according to every single online poll, of which there are 7, and according to, it would change. I mean, you'd have 3 sometimes, and you'd have 7 or 8 sometimes. But according to every single online poll, which are polls after debates, I won every debate. I don't know if you agree with that, but I won every single debate. And
I agree that the poll said that, but this will be one-on-one. It'll be like Ollie Frazier.
Would you say that I didn't win every debate, or would you say,
you at least tied for first in every debate? There were a couple.
That's good.
Yeah, but will you find
I'll
someone?
Accept that. Hey, I'll accept that. Right.
Will you find someone who will be as tough on you in practice as Hillary will be in reality? I mean, I'll volunteer. I'll come and throw the roundhouses at you.
That's good. Well, that's a good volunteer. Yeah, the answer is yes, and I'm starting to think of the debates. Now, the debates are an eternity, you understand.
Right.
The debates are an eternity. We're talking about a long time, and I guess it's 3 debates, although I'm hearing 4 debates now, and, of course, based on, they're saying the debate, if it's Hillary and if it's Trump, they're saying the debate's going to be the biggest show ever on television in terms of ratings. They're hearing that this could set all sorts of records. I
don't know if you can beat the Cavaliers-Warriors in the 7th game, Donald Trump, but you can come close.
Well, no,
I know
what did they get? 30 million people?
Yep.
Well, we got 24 million people.
So you got to go a little bit higher.
And think of it, and that was on network, and we were on cable. So
I think I know what she's going to go at you on. Do you want to know what I think she's going to hit you on?
Go ahead, sure.
She's going to hit you on triad. She's going to hit you on Hamas versus Hezbollah, the number of carriers, and I know the knockout punch. I think she's going to ask you about the chain of command and whether you have the chain of command mastered. Have you mastered it yet?
I know the chain of command, and I will have a lot of things mastered. As I've told you, I've been a very successful businessman. I've never done this. When they asked about NATO, as an example, I was asked by Wolf Blitzer, just off the cuff, tell me about NATO, on live television. And it was very interesting because I gave an answer. I said, number 1, it's obsolete. Number 2, and it's obsolete largely because it doesn't take into account properly terrorism. And number 2, people aren't paying their fair share, right? And everybody laughed at that was so funny, And then 3 days later, they started saying, Trump is 100% right. And then if you noticed about a week and a half ago on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, a major announcement from NATO, first big announcement in years, that they were going to open up essentially a terrorism division, which is exactly what I said, and that they were putting some major general or whatever in charge of it, and it was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. No, I got no credit for that. Everybody knew. They did mention my name, but that if I didn't say that, it would have never happened. And people now give me credit, but it's begrudging credit. So, I understand the system, frankly, and sometimes I understand the system better than the people that do it. They couldn't see the forest for the trees. They were good people, but they were working on NATO for years. And one of the people who scoffed at me 3-4 days later said, Trump is right. So, I get it. And
she's going to try and gotcha. That's what she's going to try and do. And it's going to take a.
I have plenty for gotcha for her too if she plays that game.
Oh, you did that yesterday quite a lot, and I applaud that speech. And I specifically wanted to ask and recommend that you know how to prosecute the damage she did to national security with that server. You brought it up in the speech yesterday, but detailed. I don't think the American people get what the Russians and the Chinese got from her. You brought it up. Are you going to prosecute that case?
Yes, and frankly, it's very unfair that she's allowed to even participate in this election, if you want to know the truth. It's shocking to people. It's shocking to legal people, to your illegal eagles. They cannot believe that this continues to go on, because what she did is so much worse than what Petraeus did and what others did, and that she's allowed to go on this race and then get endorsed by the president. And what she's done, these are criminal acts. Okay, I mean, you may not like the criminal act. These are criminal acts at the highest level.
I hope you just prosecute it every day because it matters so much. She compromised this country's national security.
And the amazing thing is, I may do a separate speech on it. And, in fact, you send me whatever material you have because I have a lot. But if you have any information you have in that, send it to me, because I may just do a separate speech on that. I got very high marks yesterday. It was very
Yes, you did. It was a hard hitting.
I got high marks yesterday from people that truly, truly hate me.
Do it again and again and again. Every day. Every day, hit her.
I'll be doing a lot of it.
Next two recommendations: a Sister Souljah moment where you rebuke the crazy 1% out there who say they're with you but are anti-Semitic and supremacists and all that. When Bill Clinton did the Sister Souljah moment, you could use one of those. I would love to hear you rebuke these people. I
see. Okay, I would do that. I certainly have done that, and I think very, very strongly. Now, when you say the 1%, you're talking about who?
Now, just the craziest people who say they're with Donald Trump, and they're not with you. You don't like them, you reject them, but they say they're with you.
I rejected them so strongly and so harshly, and then people say, he didn't reject them fast enough. Breaking news. It's like unbelievable. The one case I was on television, I rejected him on television. I then rejected him on Twitter, where I have a lot, between Facebook and Twitter, we have over 20 million people. I rejected him on Twitter. At Real Donald Trump, by the way, I'll get it a plug. But I totally rejected him on Twitter immediately after, and I still was like, it wasn't fast enough. It's a very unfair system. I'll tell you what, the system is so unfair. So,
I have another recommendation about that.
Ahead.
Though. I would let the Washington Post back in. I would let the Washington Post back in and say, I don't care what you say about me. Come on in. You can't hurt me.
Well, it's a very dishonest newspaper, and it's really there so that Amazon doesn't pay tax. And frankly, that's just a toy for Amazon. And a lot of people think Amazon should be paying tax, and they're not, and they're destroying department stores and retailing all over the country. And that is a power tool. That is like a lobbyist for Amazon. And they have been really, really dishonest as it comes to me. I mean, they're writing articles. They'll do a book. They'll put all these articles together, do a book, and they never write. I could do the greatest thing in history. I've had it many times where I said, look, the press generally, but the Washington Post in particular, and the New York Times, they are so dishonest. They are so dishonest. And you do something fabulous, and they try and spin it so it's not fabulous.
But let them back in because you only empower them by keeping them out.
Well, I'll give you an example. So if I use my plane for campaigning, or if we have a fundraiser or something at one of my clubs or whatever, I have to, by law, reimburse the club, right?
Correct.
By law. I can't. I'd love to not. I'd love to, frankly, just do it and just say it's part of the campaign. By law, I have to reimburse the aircraft and the plane and all the stuff. Okay, and I'm very meticulous about it. So in the filing, we say Trump paid, I don't know, whatever, X dollars for his airplane. They do stories saying that Trump receives, money from his campaign. Well, that's not the truth. I mean, the fact is I have to by law. I would love not to. I would love to just use my places and not charge. It's fine. It's better for me. I would like it much better. But they do stories like, and I was just amazed because, by the way, this is very serious if you don't. In other words, if I had an event, like we have a big news conference at one of my clubs, now it's better if I do it than why should I give it to the club down the street? Or why should I give it to a hotel that's not a Trump hotel? There's no reason for that. But if I do a news conference or if I do some kind of an event at a club, I have by law under federal elections, I have to reimburse at fair market and, all of that stuff, right? And I do that. We do it very meticulously. We do it. So the headline is, Trump receives money from his campaign. It's so dishonest. Now, they know that's dishonest, but people don't know that, because I frankly think it sounds bad when you see that kind of a headline. But nobody says in there, by law, you have to do it. And I think it would be stupid to use somebody else's club or somebody else's plane, and, it doesn't make sense. So,
mull on it.
So I do it very straight down the middle. I do it exactly as the law says. And instead of saying about the law that you have to reimburse, they go out and do articles like I'm paying myself, like I'm doing some great deal. And it's just not the way it is. So,
I'd still let them back in. That's take it or leave it. I think you empower them. Number 8. President Obama's legacy is in 6 words: leading from behind, red line, and JVs. I hope you'll repeat those 6 words every time you speak about President Obama. Those are his 6-word legacy: leading from behind, red line, and JVs.
Mm-hmm. And especially JV. Hold it. I'm going to mark that down, okay?
Good. And then my number 9, Eric, Donald Jr., and Ivanka should be at every single event you do because they are your best calling card to this country.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. I watched Eric last night on television and different shows. He's fantastic. Don is great. These guys, my children have done so well. I mean, so well. It's really nice. And Ivanka is getting ready to do a lot. And the women love Ivanka, and everybody loves Ivanka.
So you're liking my recommendation, so I'm at my last recommendation.
I do like you, and I do like the JV leading from behind the red line. I'm writing that down as we go.
All right, my last recommendation: do this show twice a week. It's your best training.
Well, I wouldn't mind doing it. I mean, it is a little bit of a question of time, and I know you do well when we do the show, and I'm happy for you.
Oh, very well.
You sometimes treat me very well, and sometimes you don't.
Oh, I try and be fair all the time. But I do think the more time, you've already figured this out. I think I saw you say yesterday you're doing 4 one-hour interviews, and that's worth, $300 million in media. I don't know what it's worth. It's worth a lot of dough. But you ought to be out there talking every day to people like me as often as you can.
Well, I have no objection to that at all. I have no objection. I like doing your show. I enjoy doing your show. It was interesting. The other day before the speech, I did basically the evening newses, and they were long interviews, and they were covered well, and I think I got very good marks. Today I'm doing some. But yesterday I had a lot lined up, and the speech turned out so good, and I was getting such good reviews that I said, cancel everything for today. Let the speech speak. Because if I do an interview, that's going to go on and supersede the speech a little bit. So I said, let the speech speak for itself, and it really did. They covered it fairly, and they liked it.
And so at the end of my 10 recommendations, the last one is not a recommendation. It's, are you having fun?
Honestly, I hope you think I am, because I am. I mean, I'm enjoying it. Now, with that being said, it's gruesome. And guess what? I'll give you a surprise. Now I'll tell you one. We're raising a lot of money, okay? When you saw that filing was for a very short period of time. And it was when we had just barely started. We had a day yesterday, and we had a day the day before yesterday, and we're raising a lot of money. And a lot of money is coming in on the small line, on the small dollars. We're also raising a lot from the bigger donors, and that's money going to the party. By the way, that's money going to the party. Because frankly, it's in a certain way easier for me just to self-fund. Because when I see the billions of dollars that people waste, and they hire consultants, and the consultants make millions and millions of dollars, I honestly don't believe you have to do that. When I went to New Hampshire, they all told me, you remember this. You were one of them that said it was certainly different. But they said, no, you have to go to everybody's house, and you have to go here, and you have to go there in these little groups. And I did big rallies all the time. And I said, why isn't a big rally better? The only reason they don't do them is because they couldn't get the people. And I won New Hampshire in a landslide and won, just about it. We won, I ended up winning, I think it was 37 states and almost 14 million votes. And it's been really good. No, I'm enjoying it. I wish the press was fair. They're really dishonest. The media is really dishonest. It's incredible. Now, obviously there's some that are great, and some people I have such respect for that are in the media. But generally speaking, the media is really, really dishonest, where you do good. And, like, for instance, over the last couple of weeks, I should have had a lot of great press for what I've done. In Houston, we had a rally that maybe set records for the longest line trying to get into a place. I don't know if you saw that, but it went.
Yes.
It stretched forever. In fact, the local media was fantastic in Dallas and Houston. The local stuff is great, but the national media is really brutal. So, I'd love to see the media get honest.
So last question. Do you think you're going to overwhelm her the way that Reagan overwhelmed Carter late and the polls didn't catch it. But I think that's your theory of the case, that you won my hometown of Warren, Ohio. No, you got Democrats to re-register as Republicans in Ohio. Is that Donald Trump's theory of the case? You're just going to overwhelm her because you're not using metrics and you're not using the online stuff?
Well, we're using online, et cetera, et cetera. But let me ask you, I hear I'm doing very well in Ohio. Is that a fact? I mean,
yes, you got 1 million people to re-register from Democrat to Republican.
And that was fairly recently, right?
Yes, in the Ohio primary. I mean, you lost a case anyway, but you brought in a lot of new people, and Ohio's very strong for you, and Pennsylvania's very strong for you. I don't know about this New York and California gambit. Are you still wedded to those?
Yeah, I'm wedded, but only on the term of speeches. I'm not going to spend huge amounts. People are saying no other Republican would think about it, but it just seems that I have awfully big support in California and awfully big support in New York. And I'll tell you another one is Connecticut. I have tremendous support in Connecticut, and I was down by 3 points in Connecticut, and most people say that no Republican can go there. You saw the recent poll in Connecticut, which really surprised people. So, I just think I have an obligation to at least give it a shot. I think New York, maybe, who knows? And another one is Michigan. I'm doing very well. I'm even in Michigan. That's supposed to be one you're not supposed to be winning. But I've been talking about cars and how we're getting ripped off on trade, and our car companies especially. And, so I should do well in Michigan. So I think I play you to a lot of states that are not in play for, let's say one of the other people that, had they won.
Will you help the down-ticket Republicans, do you think?
I think so. I think they're making such mistakes by sort of saying they'll do it independently. I don't care. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to be helped. I think that they are making such mistakes. And look, again, you read about the few that are. Like, I'm doing very well in New Hampshire. I'm doing very well in Pennsylvania. I'm doing very well in some of these states. And I think that if they don't embrace that, I'm fine with it. I think it's great. I actually think in a certain way I do better if they don't embrace. Because, I was an insurgent. I was, an outsider. And I'm not sure that I'm not better being an outsider. But I have tremendous Republican support. And for the few people that want to play, the independent game, I think that's fine. I really don't care.
So last question. The Cavaliers were down 3-1. No one had ever won from that position, and they did. You're down 7 points in some polls. Do you just dismiss them? Are you confident, Donald Trump, you're going to win? Are you calling your shot?
Well, you can never be totally confident. I guess I'm down 5 points, and pretty even in two of your big states. And I heard there was a very good Florida poll that just came out, too. So I think I'm doing well there. I think I'm going to win. I think people want change. They don't want to have 4 more years of Obama, and I think it'll be worse than Obama. But they don't want to have 4 more years of incompetence, 4 more years of Clinton with the scandals all the time. I think we're going to win. I think that the polls obviously are good. And, I haven't started yet, as you know. We're raising a lot of money. A lot of money's coming in, which you won't see for another 30 days, I guess. I don't know. You don't see that, I guess, until the next filing. But a lot of money's coming in. And I'm willing to put up my own money, too. People don't talk about that, although they do a little bit. But I've got a lot of money, and I might put up my own money, too. I probably will at some point.
Donald Trump, thank you for coming back. Remember, twice a week, that's all we ask, and continued good luck out there on the hustings.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Donald Trump. Don't go anywhere, America. I'll be right back. I'll replay all of the Donald Trump interview. You can hear it again. And I hope he comes back, and my recommendations are now on the record. Stay tuned. I'll be right back on The Hugh Hewitt Show. Hi, this is Hugh Hewitt. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. Click right here to watch previous ones that you may not have seen, and click right here to subscribe to get all of them. And this is what you really need to do, is click right here to subscribe. Thanks for coming by. Don't miss a minute of any of the Hugh Hewitt YouTubes.